Hi, I'm Renarta Clanton Moyd. I'm a communications specialist with the Cumberland County Schools and your host of Get Connected. Now, during this monthly show, we highlight numerous educational topics that face today's student, educator, and parent in the Cumberland County Schools. Teachers in the school system actively encourage their students to become lifelong learners, always soaking up knowledge and information daily. Now, this comes about because they too are lifelong learners who take advantage of the numerous professional development opportunities the school system has to offer. Now, after this break, we'll talk to two educators about these opportunities and how they have sharpened the skills of our teachers who are often on the cutting edge of education during this edition of Get Connected.
Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. 'Cause every kid across the nation deserves a book to read, and we can make it happen right now.
No, I don't know what you've been told, but kids with books learn so much more. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite,
Unearth hidden passion.
survival, have a good time.
Plant seeds of inspiration to motivate some magic.
To change the writing on the wall, writing on the wall.
And make a difference. One book can inspire a child. One book can be the first element that helps to change a life.
People unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected. We're talking with Cumberland County Schools Associate Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Allison Violette, and the Director of Professional Development, Dr. Theresa Perry. Now, we're discussing the numerous staff development opportunities offered to our local teachers. Allison, Theresa, welcome.
Thank you. It's great to be here in Renarta.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Theresa, this is your first time on the show, isn't it?
It is.
Okay, Allison, should we really rile her up or just be easy with her?
Go easy. Thank you.
You've got a friend in the place. Huh? Okay, now you work intimately with professional development, and explain to our viewers, what is professional development, Theresa?
Professional development is really giving educators the opportunity to seek out new practices to best improve student results.
Okay, and you know what amazes me, and I think we had this conversation off camera in the green room, how some institutions, some organizations, some businesses don't really support or believe in professional development.
We are very fortunate in our school system to have a Board of Education and Administration that really values the growth of its employees and supports these opportunities on a regular basis.
That's good, that's good. Now, who normally participates in professional development?
Actually, professional development is available to all our employees in Cumberland County Schools, but as Theresa was saying, we want to impact student achievement, and where that happens is in the classroom with that teacher who is using their best practices and increasing those skills. I mean, our teachers are our greatest asset when it comes to really meeting the needs of those students, and that's who really receives a lot of our emphasis when it comes to professional development.
You know what, I'm going to take a step from kind of our discussion, just go to this to some degree. Now, with both of you being in the line of work that you're in, you all do professional development as well. Can you think of a time that you've taken professional development where you really got this aha, wow, I didn't know that? Can you think of a time and how important this opportunity was to you?
You are right. We continually engage in professional development, and just so many different formats that give us those opportunities, even just dialogue and what we call impromptu professional learning communities, where we just share best practices and what we found in other places, and so it's constantly learning.
And didn't you mention to me once, Theresa, about being a part of a Twitter chat of some sort? Talk to us about that.
It's really the new age in professional development and in digital learning and teaching. It's it opens you up to a national conversation and to hear voices and ideas from across the country about what's working for students in schools across the country. And so Twitter chats really can open you up to those conversations, and that was a great aha, just to hear the differences going on across the nation.
Yeah. Teresa's right. I think we probably learn the most from each other in our own professional conversations and dialogues. I always laugh and say every day's a learning day. You know, I have to continually be the student so that I can continue to learn and grow. Even in my, you know, all my years of experience, you ask, you know, what's the one thing that stands out? I think it's that constant camaraderie or interaction with other colleagues. I learn the most when I talk to our teachers. Our teachers are a strong group of individuals, and they have a skill set that I can even learn from.
We recently brought our Teachers of the Year together to brainstorm about what best practices are and what professional development would best meet those needs. And we left there completely energized just by the enthusiasm and the professional knowledge of those teachers. So it is very exciting to just continue to have those dialogues with educators who are in the classroom day to day.
That's good. And you know, the thing that I think about, you all talk about learning and growing, but then we also have to look at, you know, whatever we do, whatever field of that we're in, you cannot be an island. You have to, you know, kind of step from your island over to someone else's and kind of learn what they're doing and find out what they're doing. And like you said, even with on a national arena, that really enriches you, because there's some things that we may be doing regionally, you know, as far as the East Coast, that they're totally doing different on the West Coast. And that just adds so much flavor to, you know, what you know and what you learn.
It does. And just as is in other professions, I mean, we expect our doctors and our nurses to seek out those best practices that are producing effective results. And the same is true of our educators, as they're constantly seeking ways to best meet the students' needs.
Good. That's good. That's all right. Now, going back to what we were talking about as far as professional development, are there requirements?
There are requirements. The North Carolina State Board of Education sets forth a certain amount of hours that are required for professional development, and they also designate what particular areas those need to be in. For example, they could be in teaching an academic content area such as mathematics or science, teaching students to read, those strategies that best help students read. Locally, we have a requirement around technology because we want our teachers to continue to be on the front line of digital teaching and learning. So for the most part, those requirements come from the State Board of Education, and they affect renewal cycles for teachers and principals every 5 years. And so it's just that requirement to continue that learning so that you renew your license.
That's good. Now, we're talking about how great professional development is, but do you all find that some teachers are like, I don't really want to do this? You know, and if they are that way, how do you get them over that hump where they understand the benefits of being professionally developed?
Absolutely. I mean, everybody's time is valued, and one obstacle in professional development is if they're going to spend their time to come to a training, they want it to be meaningful and relevant to what they're doing. And so that is a constant goal for professional developers to seek out the best ways to teach teachers so that they do engage in the practices that they learn and they transfer those into the classroom. And so it's really critical for those that are conducting professional development to remember what it's like to be a student and how can you best learn, and also to be open to other learning styles so that you're not using your individual style as the preferred way that you conduct, because everybody learns differently, and that's true of our students and our teachers. So the critical part of that is really the person who's conducting the professional development to make certain that it's relevant, meaningful, and engaging, just as we expect in our classrooms.
Exactly. And when you say learning styles, for some people that are not in education, learning styles being what? Tell us what are learning styles? What are the
mode in which you gather and master information. You know, it could be that we were talking earlier, we're visual kind of people, right, and we learn that way, or perhaps I learn best through actually reading it and then having conversation about it, or maybe I learn best by actually doing something. So it's the mode in which you can take information in, the way your brain will process it, so that you can master that.
That's good, and that's something that anyone who's teaching another individual should definitely keep in mind. I was talking to somebody the other day, actually, and she's no longer a teacher. Actually, she's an attorney now. And she was saying that she thinks about when she, I guess, talks with jurors or whatever the case may be, the different learning styles. You know, having been a former teacher, so that's good. Thank you, Allison, for answering that question.
You know, it's about transfer. You know, anything that a teacher, you know, learns in a staff development session, you want that to transfer over into practice. You know, an adult learning theory tells us that you want to have the transfer that is going to be most impacting for that change in that result. So.
That's good. Okay. Now, the Cumberland County school system occasionally has something called Systemwide PD. We're good with these acronyms. That's professional development. But what is Systemwide PD? Explain to our viewers.
Back to one of the State Board of Education's requirements are designated days for professional development to give teachers those opportunities throughout the year so that they're not necessarily coming after school, but during the day to allow for those professional learning communities like we discussed. So in Cumberland County this year we have 4 designated days for system-wide where teachers across our district are participating in professional development during that day. And we've done that in a variety of formats, but most recently we tried a new format with our secondary teachers in that we teleconferenced the presenters into the classroom of a group of teachers.
Okay, so wait a minute, let's go back. For people like me who are technologically challenged, you took the instructors, took them to the teleconferencing center at our Educational Resource Center.
Yes.
One of our training areas.
Yes.
Put them in a room with a camera, and they in turn
broadcast out.
And so the teachers didn't necessarily have to come.
Exactly. They didn't have to come from their locations. And if you think about it from a presenter standpoint, when you're talking to a group of 300 or 400 teachers, that's really not the best opportunity to engage your learners. And it's not a great opportunity for teachers to have the professional dialogue in that large group setting. So this really let the setting be more intimate and the teachers work more closely together around the content that was being delivered.
That's good. That's a good idea. Whose idea was that?
Jane Fields.
Yes, it was.
Our
yes,
secondary
yes.
education department came with, and we've had tremendous support from our technology department,
Yes,
Mr. Coleman
we
and
have.
our technology department, so we can have that available for our teachers. We also, you know, offer teleconferencing for students in many of our courses in our high schools.
Yeah, that's a really great
That's another
idea.
show we can do another
Yeah,
time.
I'll bring both of you back for that one, and we'll add Jane. How about that? Okay, now something I want to get into before we go to the break is what is the True North instructional framework? But first, talk to us first about True North. Explain to everyone what True North is about.
True North is our philosophy in Cumberland County Schools. It is about expecting academic growth for every child. And when we say every child, we do mean all children. And so when we stay focused on that direction, then we can be successful for students. When we're not talking about this group of children or this group, we're talking about all children. So True North for us is our concept, our beliefs around what students should be offered. So when we think about that, we say, well, what is our instructional practices that can best bring that about? So we have tried to codify and bring some common language around our belief system of True North. And when we started thinking about it, and as Theresa said, we talked to our teacher of the years to get input. We said, what is it that's really the actions of our teachers? What are the behaviors that we're seeing in our classrooms that exemplify this True North philosophy? And it really came back to the teaching and learning process of what do teachers do before they start teaching, what do they do during the teaching, and what do they do after the teaching. And it was really a circular process of saying, well, I have to assess my students and know where they are. Therefore, I can then prescribe and plan instruction that's most effective. And then I can deliver that instruction in an engaging and rigorous and meaningful way. So we came up with this concept of assessing, planning, and teaching, and what we call our True North Instructional Framework of APT as our process of teaching and learning in Cumberland County Schools. It gives us a way to, like I said, bring together our thoughts with a common language. We've got teachers that come and go as a transient area that we are. We have, may have 300 or 400 teachers come in new to our system, and being able to say, this is what we call this, and this is what we call this, because everybody's got different language in education, you know that, but this gives us a common language in Cumberland County Schools. And it was interesting that day we met with the Teachers of the Year. They said, this is not new, this is what we do, but they liked the idea that we put a name that was a Cumberland County name on this True North framework. We assess students, we plan and prescribe, we teach. This is our teaching and learning process.
You branded it.
We branded it, we
That's
did.
right.
We said this is, well, we take it a step further, we said this is our anchor to keep us true north. If we APT, that will keep us anchored around what is right for students.
Oh, I like that. You know what? I love this conversation, but you know what? Let's continue it in just a minute, okay?
All right.
We're going to take a quick break, but don't you go anywhere. Stick around for more Get Connected.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Thanks for joining us for this edition of Get Connected. Our guests are Cumberland County Schools Associate Superintendent of Curriculum and Instruction, Dr. Allison Violette, and the Director of Professional Development, Dr. Theresa Perry. Now, we've been talking about professional development opportunities in the Cumberland County Schools, and I'm really enjoying this conversation. All right, ladies, before we left for the break, Allison, I know you were talking to us about APT. If you could just refresh our viewers on what the acronym means, and then I want to go into asking you a few questions as to how that works into the professional development framework.
Well, APT is our True North instructional framework. As I was saying earlier, it stands for Assess, Plan, and Teach, and it is our balanced approach to meeting the needs of students so that everyone is successful.
Okay.
And we know that becomes our common language, as I said earlier, that can keep us anchored to get children to True North. And where the professional development comes in is alignment. It's all about alignment to that.
And we are in the process of seeking input from teachers and principals around what courses would best meet their needs in those three areas, what the delivery mode might look like, what would be best for teachers and principals. So we are in the process of developing that, and we'll be ready to roll that out in the coming school year. So we're really excited about that process.
That's good. Now, in developing that process, you said you'll be talking to principals, teachers, and others to come up with the content for that.
Exactly.
Okay. I was just wondering if it's the type of thing where, we're not reinventing the wheel.
We're not.
These
no.
are
We're
okay,
not.
fresh.
As Allison said, our Teachers of the Year, as we looked at the framework with them, they said exactly that. This is nothing new. This is exactly what we do on a day-to-day basis. So it's finding what the most effective practices are in those areas, what the newest concepts are, and just extending that professional growth opportunity.
Okay. So in the fall, we'll definitely be able to sample that and see what it's about.
Absolutely.
Okay, that sounds good. Now, at this point, what are some of the professional development opportunities that are being offered?
We have a variety of formats of professional development delivery. As I mentioned, with our Board of Education and our administration has been so supportive over the years in professional development opportunities. And so we have face-to-face offerings where teachers come after school to attend professional development. We have the system-wide days that we indicated throughout the year. We also have online modules for teachers to take at their own pace and when it's convenient for them. And then most recently, we are branching out into YouTube. We have developed our own Cumberland County Schools University YouTube channel, and that's only been since September. So that's in the making, and we will continue to build the content for those videos throughout the school year. But as we discussed, just learning in general, many times when we look to learn something new, we get on the internet and seek out a quick strategy or a new idea. And so YouTube was just something that's familiar to most people, and we felt like that was a great vehicle to get out quick strategies and information to teachers without them having to travel to get that.
That's good. And I think it's very important when I heard that the YouTube channel, because we have a lot of younger people in the newer generation that are becoming a part of our system, they tend to learn a little differently from those who are not from that generation. So using some of those tools that are, that tend to stand out to them,
yes.
I think it's, and having that variety, because everybody's not a YouTube person.
Absolutely.
But that's good to have that variety. Now, talk to me a little bit, just a sampling. Just for some person that has no idea of specific courses that one can take. What are some specific courses that seem to be pretty popular with most teachers?
We have some exciting courses. Google Tools in the classroom, flipping your classroom, which is a great concept.
Now, what is flipping?
Flipping your classroom is really more about, instead of the teacher coming to the classroom and delivering all the content, that content is front-loaded for students in some technology fashion. So it could be a PowerPoint that's sent to students ahead of time, or some kind of information that's put forth to them before they come into the classroom. And so when they get in that classroom, it's all about engaging in the content, and it's not listening and sitting, it's really engaging. So flipping it to more of a digital learning style, and so that's been a very popular concept as well. Teaching students literacy concepts in the classroom, mathematical strategies, we have such a variety that we're very fortunate. Infusing rigor in the classroom, I could go on. It's very exciting.
That's good. Now, you know what, I just want to go back just a hair. When we were talking about YouTube in the classroom, I know, Theresa, you gave us great information about that rolling out and us doing some more things with that. But Allison, I know you've worked with this concept quite a bit. Could you talk with us a bit?
Well, we were looking for a way to meet the learning needs of teachers, because everybody's time is so valuable. Right. So we started saying, what can we offer that's anywhere, anytime? And that's where we look to this as a format for delivering content. And it may not necessarily be content that could add up to get those requirements for the hours, but it is an opportunity for that teacher to grab that best practice, to continually build their skill set. Teachers come with the tool set, like I like to say, the toolkit they've got, that's the strategies they use with students, and they're constantly looking for what they could add to that toolkit. And so this anytime, anywhere learning platform of the YouTube can be that for them. We've had our curriculum instruction team working very hard over the last few months developing that anytime, anywhere content for that. We have set up channels and playlists around subject areas and grade levels, so that if I'm a fourth grade math teacher, or I'm a fourth grade elementary teacher and I need some new strategies for math, I can actually go to that channel and that playlist and find strategies for my particular subject and grade level. So that's been the work of our curriculum instruction team, is to develop that and really have it real time, right now, what's needed. So that's been helpful.
Okay, now let me ask you this. As a parent of a student who's doing this new math stuff, ooh, it just really, it's hard. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. Would a parent be able to benefit from this YouTube, video that might introduce new math concepts and those types of things?
It certainly could be It's something we're thinking about as we move and grow this platform.
We see a lot of potential for applications for parents and also for students to revisit that content that perhaps they learned in the classroom that day and they want to revisit and refresh. So we do see a lot of potential applications that will benefit both parents and students as well as teachers.
Well, this is one parent, when it gets on board, I'm going to be right there in front of it.
We'll make math the priority.
That's a good thing. Now, let me ask you this. With you all see that you are facing any type of obstacles as far as professional development?
Budget is always an obstacle, just having the funds to continue to expand the opportunities. But that's where the creativity and seeking out resources that are free, such as YouTube, that's being really creative to overcome that obstacle. And you mentioned earlier the time concept. I mean, teachers' time is so valuable, and so we want to make certain that it's beneficial, and we think the teleconferencing is a way to cut out some of that time in terms of travel, and also the YouTube piece is that they can do it anytime, anywhere, as Allison said. So just constantly being creative to overcome those obstacles because their time is so valuable, and we want, as Allison said earlier, whatever they learn to actually transfer into the classroom, because that's where we're going to get the results, is if they actually implement what they've learned in the professional learning.
That's good. Now, what's on the horizon for professional development, our PD department?
Well, as we mentioned, the process of aligning new courses with best practices and the most effective strategies to go with our instructional framework of APT. So that will be rolling out, and also continually expanding that YouTube, the content within the YouTube, and just looking at lots of different vehicles through which to deliver professional development to overcome those obstacles such as budget and time.
And I was about to ask, where do you all see the department 5 years from now, or professional development 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
It's very exciting to think about in the technological age in which we're in. There's just so much potential, and anything is at your fingertips, and that's what we want to make available for our teachers and students as well.
That's good. That's good. Well, are there any last words you all would like to share regarding professional development here in the Cumberland County Schools and all the wonderful things that we're doing?
I think Cumberland County Schools has had a rich history and tradition of quality instruction, and that comes from having a quality teaching staff. And so we're very fortunate in Cumberland County. So I feel our challenge and our role is to continue to support that, because we are a very successful school system, and we know that's because of the hard work of our teachers and the involvement of our students and parents and everyone working for the True North philosophy. So whatever we know that we can do to support that, that's our role.
That's good. Theresa?
Absolutely. I mean, just looking for ways to continuously support our teachers and educators so that they are making the difference for our students, which is what we want to happen.
All right. Well, you know what, Allison, Theresa, thank you. We'll have you both back here again, and we're going to add Jane Fields, so that's a shout out to Jane Fields now. Joking. But anyway, I've truly enjoyed having you all on. It's been so enlightening to learn about especially what is on the horizon, and the wonderful opportunities that our teachers will have, as well as our parents. Yes. Yay, we hope in some time. So thanks again.
Thank you.
All right. Well, on behalf of the Cumberland County School System, we want to thank you for tuning in to this edition of our show and for giving us a chance to help you get connected. Until next time. All right, let's just talk.